Hi guys, welcome back to the Daily Dreamer. Thanks so much for coming and hanging out with me. I'm just gonna try and get through this. This is a long one. All right, so I wake up, come to, and I'm in a railroad station, and I'm in tunnels, and I happen to look over and I see one car that is just empty. There's no passengers, and it's going nowhere. It's just sitting there. The door is open though, so I could go in. And then I happen to look over here, and there's a busy one, and it's just going by at the speed of light. I mean, it's just whizzing by. So I go over and I want to jump into that one. Well, I jump into the train, and I'm jostled about because the train is not stopping for anyone. And so I'm jostled, and I'm left there trying to get myself and senses together. So I jump up, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I go over to the guy that's like, I don't know, collecting a ticket or something. So what is this train? And he says, it's the train of knowledge, the train of learning. I was like, cool, what are we learning about? He goes, anything that you want. Go in, take a look at the screens, and then decide what you want to learn about. So I go into the first car, and I can't even look at the screen because the audience is up in disarray, and they are just debating, going back and forth, arguing, all kinds of stuff. The chatter is so loud that you couldn't even focus on the movie if you wanted to. So I listened just for a moment, and I'm like, what are we talking about? So I go to the guy, and I said, what are we learning about? And he goes, I don't even know, but I'm learning a lot. Shh. Okay, well, I look up and I happen to see that it happens to be about the world and the current state that it's in and how tomorrow will never be able to come because of what we're doing today. Obviously, I don't want to go there. So I jump out, go into the second trolley car, cinema, if you will, and the people are doing the same thing. They're arguing, they're debating, and I look up at the screens about food, what's right, what's wrong, what they're doing tomorrow, this, that. Okay, so I come back out. I don't want to deal with it. I go to the next car, and there is the same thing, but not as bad. They're actually kind of patting themselves on the back. I was like, cool, what are we learning about? And he kind of looks at me like I'm silly. So forget it. I look up at the screen. I happen to see that it's like cloning. Like they're congratulating themselves because, well, they created the perfect man, if you will. So then I go to the next one because science is not for me. So I go to the next one, and they're doing the same thing. They're patting themselves on the back. I look up, and it's all about technology and all the gadgets and where we've come and how far, in the future, things are about to happen. I mean, all about the future. So none of this stuff is for me. I'm like, forget this, right? And so I go back to the guy and said, I want to get off the train. He says, why? Don't you want to learn? Don't you want to know? I said, what am I learning? Am I learning how to argue, how to debate? Because that's what is going on. I don't even know if they know what they're learning about. And he says, well, fine, if you don't want to learn, you don't want to know, just get off the train. Well, how do I get off? He says, jump off. So I do, and I jump off, and I'm, okay, fine. I jostle around a moment, stand up, no big deal, and I happen to be right there in front of the one that's not moving. The one that's empty, no commotion, no people. The door is open, so I was like, well, it's better than that one. So I go in, and I happen to see an entity sitting there. So what are you doing? He says, I'm watching history. I said, oh, we're learning history? History of what? And he said, of you. Of me? Well, that probably explains why there's no audience. Oh, cool. Let me go ahead and sit. So the movie starts, and it's a book, but it's a book. And as the pages are turning, there's nothing on the pages. So this is silly. There's nothing here. And he said, no, it's there. You just haven't watched long enough. You haven't tuned in. So just take a moment. So as I'm sitting there, things start to appear. Well, the very first time I saw something were these huge bold letters. And there were the chapters, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. But they were huge, they were bold, and they were filled with glitter and sparkles. I thought, my God, this is going to be a great movie, right? So I go and I sit back to relax to watch it. Unfortunately, I was whisked back to consciousness, so I never really got to actually see it. Maybe I'll focus on the images tonight and go back in, huh? Anyway, so that was a dream. So I wake up and I go into a meditative state and I get some answers. Now, you're going to have to bear with me because these writings are rough. I mean, rough. But what came to me? Man, and it's quest for knowledge. So this is great. I know that we all love to learn. We all want to know. We want to know everything right now. Sometimes I think we get caught up in the wanting to know and learn of the knowledge, but we don't even know what we want to learn about to know what it is that we are learning. Right? We just get so confused in the learning of it all. Then when we do learn it, this is so ironic and so humorous. When we do learn it, guess what we do? I don't know why we do this. We forget that in order to continuously learn and move forward, we have to continuously shed what we know. We love to hold on to what we know. Yes, we do. We're very proud of that. I know this. I know that. You listen to me. My experience says this. We do this. And I don't know why. Because when we do this and we hold on, we don't ever make room to learn anything more. We can't shed what we know to learn anything new, to move on, to be able to make our lives a lot easier for us. Why? Because we're proud. We are proud in our knowledge and our learned knowledge of what it is we know. Well, folks, guess what? Sometimes holding on to something that you know for so long doesn't work out. After so long, you got to learn to let it go because it's just not working out. Unless you're one of those people that just love to be addicted to suffrage in your life. You want to know why you're suffering? You want to know why things are going awry? Because you can't seem to let go. Let go. Your pains, your aches, your suffering, your past, your quest of the knowledge of what you do know, let it go so that you are free to allow new things to enter into your life so that you can learn to move on, right? Who wants to stay in the same place all at once, right? And not go anywhere for the rest of their lives. That's not what it's about, folks. It's about the journey. So let's see what they had to say to me about knowledge and learning. All right. Remember, don't overlook the fact that you have to continuously shed what you know to learn new things to move forward. All right. They say that knowledge comes to us, and it comes to us through the form of left-handed intuition, logical mind, cognitive abilities. That's your intuition, folks. That's on the inside. We are so busy learning how to do right-handed cognitive abilities, like learn what we're supposed to learn from school, do what we're told, pay attention to all the rules, do what we are so busy learning this that we forget right here. Pay attention to our rules, okay? But that's okay. They say knowledge comes to us through the left hand, knowing through yourself, right? It's through seeing the world as it actually is, and not for what it is on a programming level, right? And how do we do this? Well, we take time, 5 minutes, to get to know ourselves. They say inside, getting to know yourself is your history of your soul. It leads all the way back to the Akashic Records. Imagine that. The history of your soul through time, over and over and over. Do you know it? Or are you too busy knowing the outside world's current state of affairs about the tomorrow that may never come? I don't know. It says our psyche is that of one that's autistic and narcissistic. We are impressed with ourselves. As now in the sciences, the man making a man, it's our genetic obsession to want to create the perfect man or perfection. They say that we forgot that we are already perfect just the way we are. They say we were always perfect until symbols and programs told us otherwise. That's true. When we were kids, man, we never even questioned it. We never even doubted it. We were just awesome, right? And now all of a sudden it's just gone astray. We are all taught to listen to the noise so much in the outside world and their messages and their symbols, all the subliminal programs, that we can no longer hear our own selves think or hear our own inner truth. The inner truth that tells us of our own perfections. The noise of the outside, it violates, it numbs our senses, and it teaches us to be okay with the chaoticness of what's going on out there and not tune in here. It grows louder every day and it gets more and more obnoxious, folks. They say, and we're too busy listening to it. Yes, we are. We can't see perfection in anything. We can't see perfection in anyone. You want to know why? Because our own thoughts of intelligence are being poisoned. And they are being poisoned with self-doubt and self-denial. And that is coming courtesy of outsideness. So, we can't ever see perfection in nature because we're too busy fighting over it. We are riddled with anxiety, jealousy, madness, and rage. And if we are riddled that much with all of that, how on earth could you ever expect to heal the world if you can't heal you, folks? It says, does time seem to speed up lately that you are actually able to see the present time as it's disappearing? Think about that. Is it supposed to be your time for things to happen, yet nothing is happening because it's everybody else's fault around you? Are you finding your failures because of someone else's faults? Do you want revenge? Are you angry about it? They say the door to social justice is always unlocked, and we hold the key. But the door to self-realization, well, that one's always ajar. But we just continue to just be passerbys. Some are okay with that. Some even enter in that chaotic world and are okay with getting caught up in the learning and the knowledge of, our own opinions of what we know. They enter that willingly, like I did on the car train. I entered it willingly, but then I was not going to get caught up. I jumped off. Well, it says when we cease our desires to worry about the world, maybe like if you do something now, if you understand that it's not so much about the future, but it is about the living in the now moment. If you understand the value of living in the now, then things will get way better for you. When we understand that value, we stop worrying about tomorrow, because tomorrow is never going to come, folks. So you're kind of being pointless on your arguments there. The world or the quest for perfection doesn't have to happen, because you, in the pursuit of happiness, will understand that perfection is already residing within you. So there's no need to go out there and create the perfect man when it's already here. We just have to learn to tune in to us. We have to find it. It says, because for the time the authentic self, like I said, my writings are chaotic. For the true authentic self inside you to understand that it's about being 100% in the now. Tomorrow does not exist. You are already perfect. The man who knows and listens to himself from the inside, he gets instructions for the art of light, not just the mechanisms of it. Not just the mechanics, folks. You become a living mandala. Eventually, once you start learning to know your soul, you are living to your full potential, because you will be living 100% in the now, thus living to your full and creative potential. It's a mandala of colors and dreams and visions that's coming from you. That time or death can never erase, because once you start showing your true colors, ladies and gentlemen, time will neither will death, be able to ever wipe that away. They say, as eagles cross the sky without ever leaving a trace, so too shall we on our endless mind and body and soul searchings through eternity. From perfection to perfection, folks, we will continue to always want to know about ourselves. But if we are too busy caught up in the outside world and what may or may not be tomorrow, then we will never ever take a moment to understand our own history. Take a moment, get to know yourselves, folks. It's way much better than what's going on out there. So until next time, guys, thanks so much for joining me for a dream, and sweet dreams and many blessings.